2018 Toyota Highlander rear brake pads and rotors. First you want to do is jack it up, support it properly. Then you want to remove the tires. Those are 21 millimeter on the lug nuts. And then you want to remove the brake caliper, which is held on by two bolts, one here and one here. Caliper bolts. Those are 14 millimeter. And you want to remove them. And then you want to take off the caliper. Get it off of there. And then, once you got it off, you want to inspect your boot. Make sure it doesn't have any cracks in it or tears or leaking any fluid. If it has any of those, then you want to replace it. Then you want to get yourself a pair of big channel locks or a C-clamp and push the piston back in. Try not to damage the boot. All right. Then you want to remove your caliper bracket, which is this one piece here. It's held on by two 17 millimeter bolts in the back. One here and one right there. Take them out. Those are 17. Then they're pretty good. I used a 1/2-inch breaker bar. Okay, there's the bolts. There's the bracket. Okay. Now, if you notice the bracket, they said they needed brakes, but I don't think so. Anyway, they took it to Toyota, and Toyota said, hey, you need brakes. Yeah, I guess they do, huh? Need to make some money. But anyway, notice the brake pads. The bottom down there's got a clip on the brake pads, an anti-rattle clip. All right. So let's take note of that. It goes on the bottom on this one. And then also spray down your rotor with some penetrant, because most of the time they're bonded on there. If they're bonded on there, then you have to spray it down penetrant, hit it with a hammer. Try not to hit the studs. If you're replacing a rotor, you can hit the rotor part, get it loose. Notice here is a parking brake adjuster plug. Make sure you switch that with your new rotor. Take this off. And here's the hub. You want to get all this rust off this hub. Make sure it's nice and clean. All right, I'll show you that in a second. Here's the hub, nice and clean. And once you get it all nice and clean, try not to remove any metal. You just want to shine it up. And then put a fine layer of anti-seize on it to help keep it from rusting for the next time. You need to remove that rust, because if it's got high and low spots, and it causes the rotor to be like that, it won't be true, and it causes a vibration, and it causes your brake caliper to go like that, and also you'll feel it through your brake pedal, or you'll even feel it when you're stopping like that. All right, keep your brake pads separated, right and left, so that way you know about the anti-rattle clips, where they go in the position. And then next you want to do is remove your bundle clip hardware from the bracket, and you want to clean up that rust, because when you have rust in there, it expands, and then it also puts pressure on your pads. It doesn't allow them to slide properly inside your bracket. Also, now these caliper slide pins, they need to be free. If they're totally frozen, you can't get them out, then you need to replace the bracket. Just replace the whole caliper assembly with the bracket. So next you want to do is clean up your mounts like this. All right. And then take your pins out. See, like this one. Right here. This is the one that's got the bushing in it. Make sure you mark it so you know where it goes. This one's on the bottom. So just mark it. Put some new Seal Glide on the pins. Do not pack the bracket with Seal Glide. If you put Seal Glide inside here, you'll never push the pin in. You'll have to remove it with a screwdriver. All right, use Seal Glide, or even the lube that comes with the brake pads. Some do, some don't. Besides, when you got these all nice and clean, you want to put some paint on them. And the next step would be getting the rotors on there. If that groove on that pin is totally full of rust, I'll use a hacksaw blade and put it in there and scrape across it a bunch of times and keep turning my bolt, and then I clean it up. Okay, so put some silk glide on it, push it in there. As you're pushing it in there, you want to twist it, okay? All right, so this is one that's got my bushing in it. I marked it. So I gotta finish cleaning these up and then paint them. Okay, but you got your bundle clip hardware in there. Make sure that they match and they fit perfectly. Don't get them switched around at the front and the back if you're doing them. But anyway, that's the way they go in. And you want to look at your old pads. You want to look at the anti-rattle clips. Match your pads up. Put that one down there. Okay? And then do the same thing with these. All right, put them on there. If they came with new ones, put the new ones on. But if they don't, put the old ones on. Make sure you don't break the little tabs when you pull them off. Okay? Then you need to clean up your rotors, get rid of the oil, shipping oil, put some spray some Windex, glass cleaner on them, or some degreaser, soap and water. Do not use brake clean because you got the new, the leaf on the pad label. It means that the brake clean contaminates the brake pads. So do not use brake clean. The residue that sits on there will contaminate the new style pads. All right, so now you need to put your rotors on and then put your caliper brackets on. Okay, you got your rotors on. Make sure you put your parking brake shoe adjuster plug in. Put your bracket on, caliper bracket. Snug up your two 17mm head bolts, and you want to torque those to 76 foot-pounds. And next you need to do is put your brake pads in. The anti-rattle clip goes on the bottom. Put it in there at a little bit of an angle. Make sure it's bottomed out. Gets in there. Push it in there like that. Remember? Gotta go in at an angle. Okay? Gotta go in at an angle. Make sure you get a light so you can see the inner one, dude. The inner one is exactly the same way. You gotta watch out for these little springs, okay? Because there's springs in there. That's part of a spring. So what you're doing is pushing the pad in there and you're pushing on the spring part, okay? Okay, now it's got your pads in. Now it's time to install your caliper. As you're putting the caliper in, you gotta push the caliper slide pins in so the ears on the caliper clear that top and the bottom. Get it on there, and then you can get your bolts started and snug them up, and then you want to tighten those to 22 foot-pounds. Make sure that your brake line is not twisted. On this particular one, if it was twisted, it'd be kind of hard to put it on because it's such a short hose. But anyway, double check that. So then once you got these all tight, got the inner ones tight, these tight, now it's time to put your tire on. Torque your tire to 90 foot-pounds. And you got both sides done. Exactly the same. So next you need to do is lower it down to the ground, go inside the vehicle, start it up, push the pedal to the floor a couple times. Do not put it in drive or reverse yet. Do not do that. Then once you got a firm paddle, you can shut it off, go underneath the hood, wipe off the cap for the brake reservoir, remove the cap, check your fluid level, add as needed. Make sure you use the proper fluid, either 3 or 4. You have to check the owner's manual for that, or sometimes it's marked on the cap. Okay. So now once you put the cap back on, you can go inside the vehicle, start it up, pump the pedal, make sure it's good and firm and hard. And that's it. That's how you do your brakes. If I helped you do your brakes, that's awesome. Maybe you can help me by subscribing. If you already did, I appreciate it. Thank you.